Hola, amigos. Welcome back to day 7 of Lock-In. Of course, we got the Omega bracket in the building. I am Golden Boy, your maybe not so favorite bald person. And alongside, yeah, it's like Sideshow, Saucy,
Paper Thin,
Tom, Paper Thin. Yeah. And we also have Mimi as well as Achilleos here, who's working triple duty today. How you feeling, buddy? You good?
Oh, I'm just energized. I mean, the day's actually kind of been flying by for the most part, but it's been fun to be able to go from, the casting desk over here to the analyst desk, and now we get to strap in for some more Pacific action.
Whew, that's right. I mean, look, we have 2 teams here that had some pretty solid showings in 2022, and it's going to be, of course, ZETA Division and Leviathan. And let's actually jump into this one. And Mimi, before we, dive into the rosters real fast, I mean, this is going to be an exciting matchup.
It's going to be a good one. I think it's especially interesting because ZETA has stuck by their roster. They have not made any changes during the offseason. This is the same squad that people learned to know and love through 2022. But now I think the question coming into this year is, are we going to see them improve? Because they had a fantastic high and then kind of fell off towards the latter part of 2022. And I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I mean, the big question is just how are they going to perform? Because like you said, that high was phenomenal. When they were able to achieve that run, it was looking masterful from them. But it has been inconsistent. They're sticking with the same 5-man core, though. They've had a lot more time to really go through their parameters, go over their protocols, and hopefully that's going to translate into a stronger performance because it needs to be one if they want to take down Leviathan.
And I mean, I guess to kind of chew through your question, GP, we can take a look at some of their placements from last year because they had that moment where we saw the potential of this roster fully realized. That was, of course, Reykjavik. They make it top 3 at that event and then fall flat at Istanbul. Didn't have the best performance at Berlin.
Weren't they eliminated
Didn't even qualify to Copenhagen. Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what I was actually going to bring up, right? Like, they played some close matches in that one. They took some maps off of some solid teams, but unfortunately they kind of fell flat in the elimination games, and now it puts me in this spot where I don't know quite what to think about ZETA.
Yeah, it really is tough because, as you pointed out, JP, the last time we saw them, they did have to play against Loud, and that is a really tough draw for them because obviously they went on to just win the whole damn event, but they did make it fairly competitive throughout those matches that they did have to play. But it just wasn't what we wanted to see after that miracle, that Cinderella story, where they went over to Reykjavik and then completely missed out on the next event. We wanted them to come back into international competition and put up some really solid performances, but unfortunately, we kind of got it, but it wasn't the wins that we were looking for.
Yeah, I think one of the big things for me is I want to see this team's emotion in check, because I felt like at Champions, when they showed us good things and the game started kind of slipping away from them, they almost spiraled in a way. You have that famous moment where Lads was like just sitting on stage staring at his monitor after they choked a match to Boom. Like, this team is very emotional, but they need to harness that to improve and to be the best that they can possibly be in these matches.
Well, it seems as if, though, that they're going to make some adjustments, some changes. I don't know how I feel about it, but apparently Depp is going to be taking over the op role from Laz, which honestly, Mimi, was kind of news to me because, I mean, Laz, that guy is gifted with the operator.
It's shocking to me because the games that they played so close at Champions were in large part due to Laz's performance on the op role. Now they're switching it back, Seth.
Yeah, I mean, Depp does come into this in his own right as an absolute legend of Japanese FPS. He has, he's been performing at a very high level across multiple esports, and he does know how to use an op quite well. But he needs to be the tip of the spear for ZETA if they want to be able to break through this one. We have seen some inconsistencies from Depp in particular. Mimi, you're talking about Laz. He was one of the ones that was always consistent for them when they were putting up solid performances. Now we need to see that from Depp as well as the rest of the team.
And consistency is exactly the same. The thing that I'm looking for in this squad, because they've been together for a long time. They think that they have the best 5 players that are available to them in Japan. Now they need to show me why. They need to show me that experience actually paying off in this match.
Yeah, and we've come to really know and love this ZETA lineup. They've been to so many events, but let's actually go ahead and meet the team in this video featuring Laz and Depp.
ラズです。日本のゼタディビジョンに所属しております。チームではリーダーをやっていて、主にセンチネルを担当しています。チームでフレックスでいろんなエージェントを使いながら、非常にアグレッシブなプレイを得意としています。で、めちゃくちゃパワフルで打ち合いも強くて頼りになる選手です。シュガーゼロは 非常に頭の切れるプレイヤーで、チームではコントローラーを担当しています。クローは、うちで一番のサポート選手で、年長組、僕と同じ年長組でチームを支える、チームの柱になっている選手です。デップは、非常に爆発力のあるプレイヤーで、チームではデュエリストを担当していて、で、今回の大会では非常にキーパーソンとなる選手だと思います。
名前はデップです。チーム名はゼータディビジョンです。まあ、うまくいけばできると思います。まあ、チーム全体で強いことが条件じゃないですかね。
そうですね。まあ自分たちが去年かなり盛り上がったっていうのは、プレッシャーにはなっていないかなとは思います。まあちょっと感じてるプレイヤーもいるかもしれないですけど、ただまあそれよりも、去年のレイキャビクの結果にとどまらず、次の結果を出さないとっていう気持ちが大きいですね。
そうですね。本当にいつも通りうまくいけばめちゃめちゃいい試合はできると思います。
はい、ロックインが始まります。で、今までになかった規模、今まで過去最大規模のね、本当に世界中からたくさんのチームが集まってめちゃくちゃ楽しい試合が、毎日行われているので、よかったら見てみてください。楽しんでください。頑張ります。
Well, I think it's safe to say that whenever Zeta's playing, we do enjoy watching Zeta play because they are such a talented team. And something I thought was really fascinating in that one, Mimi, was, you know, them looking for that next achievement, that next goal that they're trying to find. They hit the high in Reykjavik, but they're looking for it again here in São Paulo.
I think the fan expectation has always been for this team that they don't want them to be one-hit wonders. They don't want them to have that one tournament where they pop off. They don't want it to be seen as a fluke. And I'm glad to see that that's the same expectation for the team. This team still has that desire to grind and to try and come through with another tournament.
Yeah, well, we'll, of course, see them in a moment here. But let's go ahead and move on, though, to their opponents. It's Leviathan, by the way. Just want to make sure everyone remembers. And, of course, a team that shocked everyone and made one hell of a run at Champs last year, Seth. And this Leviathan lineup, you know, man, they're cashing in the scrim bucks. I've been hearing a lot of talk about it.
I mean, it's just terrifying kind of top to bottom here with this squad. Many known quantities. Flips through, you know, as far as the roster is concerned. But one of the best performing IGLs that we've seen at international events in King. Guy has just been absolutely incredible throughout his run. Some of the plays that he's gotten away with in his career are just absolutely bonkers. And I'm expecting to see some really great stuff out of him still here.
Yeah, we talked earlier about the trajectory of Crew, where they were at the top of LATAM and at the end of last year kind of fell down. Leviathan was the team who was taking that spot that came out and impressed. And in the offseason, they've made changes that I think will make them look even better. They brought in the star duo of Kesnet and Mazzino, and while Kesnet won't be playing on that main roster, we get to see Mazzino slotting into this team along with the core that was already so strong last year.
Yeah, there's been so much talk about this team coming into this event. I mean, heck, we even have a tweet from the coach of Leviathan on their routines. Of course, we're talking about owner here. He said, a few days ago, we started the boot camp prior to Brazil. We're testing a comprehensive routine where we are accompanied by professionals in psychology, nutrition, mindfulness, and physical training. So basically, the team is getting all the resources that they need, Mimi, in order to be a successful roster in this sport.
I think your wife's going to be really happy that you're finally fluent in Spanish enough to translate that tweet.
What can I say?
Fantastically done.
The Duolingo has been crushing it for me.
I'm impressed by that one, but I'm also kind of impressed by like the Sigma grind set that this team has been on during the off season. They put out a video about this routine. Everyone is living together, playing together in this boot camp, and basically dedicating every moment to become the best players in the server, but also just the best people mentally who can really focus up when they get out on that stage and win tournaments. This Leviathan team is very serious about winning.
I don't have what it takes to be on Leviathan, I tell you that much. Get up early, go to the gym, eat healthy food. Hell no, I'll go play on a different roster.
My guy's living on Tato's and soda.
Pizza, Red Bull.
Gamer lifestyle.
Yeah, go to bed at 4 in the morning.
But you know what, though? Here's the thing. When you look at the best sports teams, you know, in the world, right? it is the staff, the people that support the systems that are in place that allow these teams, Mimi, to find that success. And I think that's partly the reason why, this team is going to have a pretty decent run in this year.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see them. And the guy who was making that tweet, Owner, their coach, probably the most or one of the most storied coaches in Valorant, was in charge of the rise of Crew, came on board with Leviathan. They had their meteoric rise. And now the question is, when does that upward trajectory stop? Where's the final destination for Leviathan?
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's not like the movie. But that being said, though, for more on Leviathan's prep coming into lock-in, let's go ahead and meet the team.
Hola, buenas. Aquí Tacolilla, jugador para Leviathan y soy el duelista de Leviathan.
Mi nombre es Francisco Aravena, también conocido como King. Juego para Leviathan y soy el IGL y Flex del equipo.
Bueno, en Leviathan, el nuevo roster, está muy fuerte, los jugadores que los componen. Tenemos a Masino, tenemos a King, tenemos a Chai y tenemos a Noswer. Y Noswer juega el iniciador, Masino controlador, Chai Centinela y King es el IGL Flex del equipo. Hay que ver qué pasa en el torneo, pero ha funcionado todo súper bien de momento.
Bueno, los cambios fueron principalmente decisión del staff técnico del equipo. Creo que lo que se buscaba era como tener de lo mejor, por así decirlo. Y creo que Masino y Noswer eran las piezas claves para eso. Lo han demostrado, se nota, se siente lo que han aportado al equipo.
El piso de nuestro equipo este mes subió mucho y nuestro techo también, entonces es como un crecimiento constante. Y aparte de cada uno también mete horas de entrenamiento individual, por lo que el equipo está en constante desarrollo y en mejora.
Bueno, obviamente el año pasado mi meta personal era llegar a Champions, pero una vez que ya lo logré, creo que mis ambiciones son mucho más grandes y ahora lo que quiero es ser campeón del mundo. Puede que sea un poco ambicioso, pero creo que la manera que estamos trabajando, que estamos dejando todo, estamos sacrificando mucho, es para lograr ese objetivo. Puede que el lock-in sea como el primer puntapié, pero obviamente lo que queremos es ser el equipo número 1 en franquicias y después demostrarlo en Master y en Champions.
Always great to hear from Leviathan and the players as they get ready for their matchup. And there's just so much excitement, around this team, Seth. But I think, we were watching and brought up an interesting point. We have seen this implemented before. This is not new in esports, where teams come in and they throw in a bunch of resources to try and elevate the team to the next level outside of the server. So sometimes, that could backfire potentially.
Yeah, it doesn't always necessarily work out, but it seems like just given the performances we've been seeing from Lev, given the way that Owner has been just a dominant coach in his career so far here in Valorant, it seems like the systems that are put in place are working. We'll have to obviously see. If they walk away with a win here, I think it's saying, you know what? Everything's looking good for them ahead of the Americas start, but we'll have to just wait and see how it all pans out.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and highlight, though, some of the in-game leaders that we're going to be checking out here in a moment. Obviously, for Leviathan, we're going to talk about King, and this guy outputs so much for his team, Mimi. It's absurd what he manages to get done, especially in comparison to the rest of the field.
Yeah, after that, last game, Angel might be the top on this one, but last year at Champions, it was King who was looking absolutely incredible, putting up really good mid-round calls and also finding a fantastic performance as an individual. I wanted to rewind the clock to one of their games from Champions against HyperX and show you one of his calls. It started off with this 4-1 setup, Taco lurking towards long. He gets an opening pick, and initially the team just wants to group, play this mid-round together. King makes the decision to pivot this one back towards a C setup as HyperX is going through with this triple flank, and it almost goes wrong at this point because these players are rotating quite slowly, just want to cut noise in the mid-round and not give anything away. And they nearly get caught on this edge, but when they get to that C site finally, the reaction is incredibly quick and well done. This execute is well set up. You have the breach ult heading in. You have double satchels from King diving in as Mel's or TP's backside off a flash. It's all really well executed, and King is the forefront of that. He's kind of the rarity in IGLs, almost kind of similar to Angel, where he's always leading from the front, playing on this duelist role, and setting his team up for success with both the calls and the performance.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a really good one. Great to rewind back to this. Just getting that catch, the flash, you know, all the timings just put in place there with the util for the side of Leviathan, making sure that they can safely get that TP into the back site, and then immediately King is there as well, just diving in to go ahead and save his teammate from Benkai.
And that could have backfired, right? Like, there's a potential it could have backfired. You saw, you know, but it's about, like, mitigating what those errors could potentially be. And I think that was something that we did take away from Leviathan. It was like, man, it really feels like what they're implementing here, like, they're what is it, crossing their T's and dotting their I's, and that's what you want.
Yeah, compare the team that we just watched there at Champions to the team we saw at Copenhagen, who was choking away, teleporting the spike into heaven, falling out and dying, really, really not looking fantastic, and the team that we're about to see here at Lock-In, and I imagine we are going to see that upward trajectory continue.
I disagree. I think that blast pack up into heaven to recover the spike.
It was
from
pretty
King,
sick.
It was amazing that he was able to get that shot across, and he only died on the way down because they were spamming him out, and he got wall banged a little bit. So, but it was a wild moment. But those are the kinds of plays that you can expect from King, and he's still able to IGL incredibly well.
Well, okay. We got some time, by the way. We're waiting for players to get ready to go, keeping it $150 where everyone at home. So let's talk about the scrim bucks. Everyone's been going nuts about it. Every person I've talked to here, every coach, everyone's been saying, oh man, Leviathan, like, they might be the best team in the world right now. There is hype around this team, even amongst their peers.
Yeah, saw him, I think, already back home in NA. He hops on a stream for the first time, and people ask him about the scrims, and he said the toughest scrim opponent that they faced was Leviathan, and that he thinks this team might win the tournament.
Damn. I mean, that's a bold prediction, Seth.
It's high praise, but at the same time, I don't think it is that shocking. The moves that they have made look like some nice little upgrades there to the roster, and the base roster was already so very scary. They've already put up great performances, so I don't think it's actually that bold of a call.
Here's the thing, though. We know some of this about Leviathan, but it's scrimbucks. That means absolutely nothing. I have not heard anything about what ZETA looks like in the offseason. This core has been together for so long. They're in a new meta again, and I'm just really excited to see what they have cooked up. What we know probably a little bit more about Leviathan. Both these teams are question marks, but both have extremely high expectations.
Yeah, well, look, I'm just going to say I'm excited. I'm amped up. Everyone at home is amped up as well, because really, there's a lot that could happen here. On the one end, Leviathan could very well invest their stonks into the scrimbucks, or ZETA could very well shock the world. And if they manage to do that, I will be absolutely blown away. But either way, it is going to be an incredible game. So let's go ahead and send it over to the stage and meet our two teams. We have Leviathan and ZETA Division. And here we go. We have a battle of the Americas versus the Pacific regions. It's going to be Leviathan versus ZETA Division, two teams that we honestly, Mimi, are unsure what to expect in this one, especially for the boys in ZETA, given that this is the same roster with some slight tweaks.
Yeah, this matchup, it's the question of whether we can get another miracle run from ZETA Division. If they can start another Cinderella story here like Reykjavik, find that next achievement, or if they're going to be another victim to Leviathan's continual upswing that we've seen over the last year.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a little bit of ZETA in the offseason at some events. Didn't look too great, but the same could be said for the likes of Talon. The same could be said for the likes of Team Secret.
That's fair.
Can they have that same Pacific magic that has been infecting this tournament for the most part? Hey, for the most part.
It's a blessing. I love it. I'm all about it, man.
If you lose the DRX in the offseason, you crush it, lock it.
Everyone online was just down on the Pacific region in the alpha bracket. It's like, wake up, people. It's game time.
This is already a major blow. Split was the magic-making map for ZETA in the past, and LEV have taken it away from the outset. We are once again actually going to get Ascent. We were talking about it ahead of that last series. We haven't seen it too much here in this tournament yet, but LEV, they go back to it, and this was one of their strongest maps in the past.
Yeah, good to ban away the Icebox for ZETA Division. That's a very, very strong map for Leviathan in the past. They'll go ahead and pick into Pearl here, which is going to be interesting because in the offseason, Leviathan was perma-banning that map when they played in that LATAM Gods event. But here they've left it open, so I imagine they have something cooked up.
Yeah, potentially. Or it was just a matter of they just probably didn't want to have to deal with ZETA Division on Split and was willing to take a, like kind of a pick your poison type of situation,
Sure.
maybe.
Fracture and Lotus going to be banned away here, so the cider left open is going to be Haven. So some more bread and butter. If we can get all the way to that map 3, we should expect that both teams are going to be feeling incredibly comfortable there.
Yeah, I want to kind of take this with a grain of salt, but from what I saw of ZETA in the offseason, it looked like they really struggled on Ascent. They were playing some pretty solid teams. It wasn't a show match. There's some caveats here, but I wasn't super impressed with what I saw there. So I'm wondering, in these last few months, what they've done to improve that map and head back into it here.
Yeah, and we know, right, that they are the type of team, especially with, Coach XQQ, like putting in the work and trying to level up the squad. But here's the Prime Gaming Agent select for map 1. The battleground's going to be Ascent. We'll see what we end up getting here, and we do have the hovers, and good to see Taco Leo right back on the jet. And look at that.
You like to see Taco on the jet there. He was kind of the chamber guy for this team last year, now unleashed on the jet, and Depp as well picking into that. He's a guy with a lot to prove, now leaving Laz onto that more passive Sentinel role.
King just going to be going for the KO. I mean, we were already able to see just a little bit earlier what you can get done as a duelist player, flipping over onto that role from the side of Envy and what he was able to achieve. So I'm expecting still very strong things out of King. But again, the jet duel, that's got to be a big part of the step needs to level up.
All right, well, we're all set for this showdown. So let's go ahead and send it over to my fellow foreheads. And Sideshow never wants to do the show again. It's Brennan Sideshow.
Thank you very much, GB. Yeah, looking forward to this battle here between ZETA Division and Leviathan. This round of 1 match that we've got in the Omega bracket, Josh, it's setting up to be quite a nice one, honestly, because Leviathan team, they've got a hell of a lot of hype going behind them right now. You talk to any of these teams at this event, I've been at breakfast bothering all sorts of people in the elevators, I'm telling you, and they've been telling me Leviathan are the real deal heading into this event.
And it's strange, isn't it? Because ZETA have actually accomplished more than Leviathan have in terms of getting deep in tournaments. But I think it's all about the trajectory that these teams are on and the trajectory that they've taken in the off-season. Those massive improvements for Leviathan. Could this be another ZETA tragedy where they run into a top team right at the beginning of a tournament? Ascent would be a great place to start things out with a blow against Leviathan. It was a great map for the LATAM team in previous tournaments. They're already starting quick.
Yep, no time wasted. Tacklia all the way up into heaven, and he's just caught them unaware, Sugar Zero. Okay, that was a bit of miscoordination, miscommunication.
I love it, though. That pistol round strat is gorgeous. First saw DRX doing it a couple of tournaments ago, but it coordinates perfectly with Takalia's smoke and King being there to put down the nade. You pinch the players in in A main. It's just a gorgeous pistol round idea.
We see Crow and Laz on this retake. They do have the dart available to them, but right now I think the knife went off there, so unable to use too many abilities, just waiting, seeing if they're going to be gifted a kill or two, but this Leviathan squad, they have a lot of discipline on them. Not going to be willing to give away too many freebies, too many easy kills. Laz Just claiming a 1, but it is him against the world, and that 1v4, and as soon as the door breaks, he's met with the firing squad.
So you want to talk about trajectories, Brent? Leviathan, you know, they finished like 5th, 6th, Copenhagen, top 8 at champs. It's not that impressive on paper, but they did get some big scalps. They looked scary. And in the offseason, adding Nozwa, Mizzino, Kesnit, who's actually been benched at the moment for Taco, the firepower upgrade has been insane. I had a chance to talk to the team, and King, their IGL, was saying that they just believe that if you get the best players, you don't have to worry too much about roles, because people like Mizzino, for example, are just so good at learning new roles that you don't have to find a smokes player specifically. You just find incredible players that understand the game and how it's supposed to be played.
That's a battle I'm going to be taking a close look at as well. Mizzino versus Sugar Zero
Yeah.
on the controllers. I think watching Mizzino in the offseason was a treat, honestly, the way that guy was able to just react and anchor effectively.
And Mizzino's been amazing in the flex role in previous tournaments too for crew. But we've also seen Sugar Zero turn up at a lot of the events and put in some heavy work. I think Sugar Zero is going to be asked to do a lot here because Laz is now on less of an impactful role, or at least that's what we would expect from Killjoy instead of Chamber.
Yeah. Chamber hitting this team particularly hard, it feels like, in the roles, but...
And that just means that Depp and Sugar Zero have to step up. There's no two ways around it.
It's a heavy fight now. Well, go down without any issues, just wading into the smoke. Enough that they open themselves up to these angles, but currently, Leviathan just looking to farm up these eco kills, and that's ZETA hoping that they could get an easy def there to the spike, making sure that they deny any and all ult points, but no, Leviathan not letting anything get away from them.
Isn't it wild how aggressive Leviathan are playing in these post-fight situations?
That has to be intentional.
I think it's to try and scare ZETA for when the rifle rounds come up. I actually don't think, here's my pred. I don't think Taco and Nozwa and King, I don't think they're going to be doing that in the rifle v rifle rounds. I think they're trying to make ZETA scared of it so that they're slower on the retakes later on. But we'll have to see. Sure. I think it's just a prime piece of conditioning. But now rifles in the hands of ZETA Division. Crow with his Odin over in B main. And you can see how they're playing Depp in mid here. Depp should be pressured fairly heavily by the Sova utility, but if you're good enough on Jet, you can still find the openings.
He's pretty far back right now, using that Phantom. A huge amount of util, and he has to dash back, actually, just taking that early fight. And all that space afforded to Leviathan. Look at them already just making sure that they work their way forwards. There was a knife to clear through market a little bit prior. Now just backing away. That early pressure they've applied, making sure that they strike fear into ZETA Division with their defensive setup. They don't know where they could be currently.
ZETA need to go and retake mid. Okay, the recon dart in B main gives Crow a little bit of safety, but they need to go and actually find out whether these players are still in mid. They don't have any good info.
Lamba will slow down the pincer play, trying to come through into two different avenues. Nozwa sets up that dart over the top as well. Players just trying to anchor right into the back. Behind Dice, close. That turret causing all sorts of problems. And reinforcements have arrived. Dead. Right from the back, all the way on Heaven. Swings wide, collecting 2 kills. All down to Shy. Puts his way forwards, but yeah, has to break the glass and immediately alerts Crow of where exactly that guy was playing.
It looked like a great setup from Leviathan, but you're right, Brent. Depp is the playmaker there. He was really passive in mid, and I didn't think he was going to get to the fight in time. But those anchors held on for long enough that Depp could swing out into Heaven and help Laz reinforce his position before he got overwhelmed. Solid anchoring from Laz, from Sugar Zero, and then Depp swooping back in, playing that rotate role. Yeah. That's what you need to see.
A weird dart from Nozwa in that round as well. It only landed and cleared the front section of the site, so none of the players that are anchoring behind Jenny or the Dice were caught out by it, but a new round now. And so ZETA do get that one on the board.
Leviathan starting to get up to some of the ultimates, but nothing that you can really craft a game plan around just yet. Crow hasn't been spotted in this position. They obviously know that there's a chance of a Sova with an Odin being right here, but it's not like Leviathan have been playing for B main control just yet.
No, in fact, that's a play, I think, off the turret contact main.
It looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, so as soon as that turret ended up firing at somebody, they'll be spammed down a common angle.
That is big damage onto Sugar Zero over towards Catwalk too, and look at how fast Leviathan are moving around the map. They prod in one direction, pivot down another. They're very quick into mid, and it's only this alarm bot.
How they were holding for each other. Now they're going to look to try and explode into the side. There was a dart to push them away through main, and still, look at this. In mid, there was a fight taking place, but Crow still biding his time, waiting it out.
They're going to cancel.
They cancel the hit. He doesn't win the fight.
Oh, look at this, though. What a beautiful call from King. He calls the cancel on the B hit, and they go straight through to A. What a mistake by 10 to push Solo out of Cat like that and give away a free entry.
Turret spotting the positioning here. Sugar Zero, a risky peek by him, just trying to pre-fire that corner, but again, angle being watched for. Takalea just crouched into the corner. Depth just trying to at least turn the fight any which way he possibly can, but Zeta Division forced to save the 2 rifles that they've managed to get. Backing away from this one, and the way Leviathan are working this map is just sublime right now. Poking, prodding, making sure that they open up the map, force rotations, but very fast to react to any sort of information that goes their way.
Absolutely. And if you want to talk about another head-to-head to take a look at, King and then Crow on the other side. The 2 IGLs for the team, and King has been, I would say, probably the hardest hitting. You heard the Des talk about it, but the hardest hitting IGL that we've seen come up to these events. But he's also pairing it with some gorgeous mid-round calling, as you're seeing here on Ascent. I was really impressed with what he was able to put together at Champs. And again, if you want to talk about Scrimbox, Bren, people have been high up on King. Yeah. Calling him the best player on Leviathan in scrims. We'll have to see whether that translates, of course.
So many layers to the way Leviathan were ready to play that one. You saw right at the beginning, you know, Shy catching that kill from that deep push into mid. Now, discipline's there for Leviathan. Discipline for them to be able to cancel that hit into B when they noticed that there was a big opening for them on the other side of the map. Well, now, Zeta Division managing to scramble together a slight buy. Dep's going to be onto that Sheriff purchase, and the util being used just to try and fight over A main pretty heavily now.
And Sugar Zero's using one of his smokes as a one-way here, but Leviathan are investing a lot to get past it instantly. And that means Sugar Zero only has 1 smoke in the round. It's something Leviathan can potentially abuse just by going for A hits. They know that they've seen the alarm bot around there before, but that shock dart does not connect from Nozwa.
No, it misses. Does not break that alarm bot.
But it's not like they were really committing to mid. A group up very quickly. Zeta Division choosing to re-clear A main. I like that call, but it keeps those players a long way away from the B hit.
And now just contacting through. There wasn't a turret to watch through main, but now there's a smoke. Comes through, the dart, even the fragment nade as well, just in CT, and there's a lot of pressure now on the 2 Zeta Division players. Crow just anchoring to the side, but he's being lit up all over the place, and of course, the walls just absolutely paper thin, able to spam him through. At the back of the site, it's all down to Laz, but he's going to be dealt with. A quick play by Depp, but he's only with the Sheriff. One quick shot rattled off, does manage to remove King away from the fight, but on to 10 in that 1v4, and he's just not able to withstand it. That kind of pressure that's being applied.
I gotta say, Brent, that B hit looked immaculate from Leviathan.
I mean, there just wasn't a misstep.
No, every piece of utility landed exactly where they wanted it to. Right from the Nano Swarm in CT, Crow getting lit up, Paranoia caught onto Laz at the back, everything working exactly as they want. I think Zeta Division, they're gonna take a timeout here. And if I'm XQQ, I think I'm calling for much more disruption. You've got to challenge Leviathan as they set up, as they take map control, as they set up for site hits, because if you just allow them to execute onto you, oh my word, it's looking clean.
Yeah, you can't make it easy for them.
So I think I'd like to see 10 playing with Depp or Crow playing with Depp and trying to push your Jet player onto aggressive angles, whether that's trying to take a fight in mid as they take mid control, trying to push him deep onto a B sight line in B main, something to try and disrupt the hits before they come through. So at the moment, Zeta are just hanging back, and they're getting bullied.
Yeah, playing incredibly passive. Possibly playing a part as well, what we were talking about, you know, on that eco round where the fights are being taken so aggressively. Some of that conditioning, you know, just trying to put the fear into Zeta Division.
Yeah, it is super possible, but it feels like it's everywhere on the map, not just in A. Zeta can't do too much this round as well. Their economy is not in a fit state to fight. Although Depp is going to have knives, so listen, if you want to try out some kind of aggressive play, I don't see why not.
Could potentially try and cook something up. It looks like he's looking around the A section of the map. What sort of play does he want to go for? Knives are going to be popped off. 10, getting a lot of information that there are players there, but again, it's That prior presence that Leviathan are putting in, and there's a Paranoia. Glides his way across. Deb's already ready. A dash and an updraft play all the way in, but the Blade Storm, he just can't quite land the knives onto his target. Takalia gets away with that one. A lot of damage being pumped into the Zeta players.
And the idea is nice for fighting over A main. It was the first time they did it, but where's the nade from 10? Why not clear out the right side? You know, it's so close to being a great set play from Zeta, but they just missed some pieces out of it and only go 1 for 1. That might not be enough on the eco.
Cut noise. 10 lurking into wine, but it seems like Leviathan might just be aware of it. Look, they're using utility to clear through a wider smoke. There's no way he gets out of here alive. 55 health, and the spam just doesn't quite catch him.
45 seconds left, and this is where King might be calling a pivot. Obviously, the player's leaving, but in this round, it's different. They don't actually control anywhere else on the map. They just have to hope that Zeta were 5-stacking A, and as it turns out, they were.
So no real player's going to be matching them, but they do hold the rifles. Watching that crossfire. 10 rewarded with just the 1 kill, but that's about it. Now still looking to see if they can catch these timings.
Can Sugar Zero be the playmaker we need him to be?
He really needs to be. Now trying to push through the smoke, but it's being watched for. Fast reactions. Yes, time's running low into this round. Just hard clearing the back of the site, but 4 seconds more than they really need there to try and get that spike down.
And it's a decent attempt from Zeta Division, despite the fact that they didn't have the weaponry in this round. I think the timeout from XQQ is probably focusing on the right stuff. They are trying to fight Leviathan, but Crow's not quite able to pull off a 1v3.
No, I mean, that setup was just...
too difficult.
There was no gaps in that. Mazzino takes the contact, and there was 2 players ready to double swing him at different timings.
Yeah, that when you watch Leviathan, the first time we saw them on the big stage, they looked like they thrived in the chaos. And now when you watch them, they are hyper-disciplined.
Yeah.
It's all those cold 5 a.m. showers.
Yeah, that Sigma lifestyle that's just being pushed on them, it feels like, by Ona, but...
Yeah. Okay, so can Zeta make something happen here? There's 3 players towards mid, and it looks like Depp wants to take a fight here.
Just trying to make sure that he can take some risks. There's a main pressure. You can feel 10 just wanted to try and take this fight as well. Tip-tap goes through. That was a Paranoia gliding through, but, well, King was just way out of the way of it. Swinging back to cover his teammate, and he rips off the head of 10.
Definitely still missing some utility there. I like the idea, it makes sense for their macro plan, but the execution, Leviathan are outplaying them. And meanwhile, I thought Depp would be trying to get aggressive, but they're just holding a trap. They're hoping desperately that Leviathan walk into it and cross that line in mid.
Leviathan have been exploring mid quite a bit.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, is it?
Yeah, the early rounds had a ton of conditioning where they were just trying to get rid of the alarm bot, fake that kind of presence towards market, but look at how aware Leviathan are. I mean, they're using the drone now to re-clear, even the jump peak, just in case there was potentially an operator in the hands of one of the players.
That's not getting spot.
But will it pay off? That's the question. No one from Leviathan playing towards mid at all. All 5 players towards A main, and now to dash through into the smoke. That is beautiful by Depp. Manages to punish that one. That needs to be taken care of. Very, very punishable. Mazzino, he was isolated for about a moment, but he does manage to wade his way through all of this. And that is a good tag. Forces him off a bit. No, just spamming into heaven. Still the plant. Needs to go down without too much trouble. Now there's going to be the Hunter's Fury. That's to take care of that lockdown. Nosro was holding on to this one, but still. Plant down. Zeta not wasting any time with this one, but the lockdown not dealt with. Detained onto the high ground. Crow will be removed, and it's all down to Laz in that 1v2. Difficult task ahead. Not many bullets left in the clip. Has to reload. Bit of a jump peek. Seems to know where one of the players is. Shy just waiting it out. Doesn't take too much damage from that. And the close-up position by Nosra at the off angle. Crosshair placement just not there for Laz to take him out.
Even when it looks good for Zeta, Leviathan is still 2 steps ahead. The flank from Laz, he gets behind them so quickly to put a lockdown, and it does apply a lot of pressure. I mean, take a look at that as well. Knowing that Depp was going to push him and just get a bit too aggressive on him, Mazzino, the player lit up, still finding the kill. Painful for Crow as well, caught in that lockdown as both teams used them. But this is brutal so far. It feels like Zeta cannot catch a break.
No.
Outplayed at every twist and turn.
The kind of pace that is being played in this map the level of diligence that Leviathan as well are making sure that they clear out A main, making sure to fight over it, breaking the utility that Zeta might have towards mid or whatever, but this is a risky play now. Opting into this one on the half buy, and guess what? More than aware, Leviathan. I mean, just an absolute ADS moment. Still 10, holding down the tree area, making sure that he can have that crossfire into the site. There was a dash play that was trying to be cooked up there by Takalia, but there's a minute left in this round, still plenty of time, and Leviathan are no strangers to just making sure that they cut noise.
Yeah.
Wait it out.
Look at the discipline to cancel
Super
this.
patient.
To cancel this as soon as Taco found some space. The idea of the call to push into A is really good because you know that there's 2 players on B fighting aggressive. You don't expect there to be that many players on A. So I like the call initially, but the idea to cancel is also such a great read, but I love this defensive stack. They're reading the re-hits now. Leviathan have gone for it a couple of times. Can Zeta hold on?
Gonna be the question. There's no command to rip through there, but nothing to help them clear. Right as the smoke, just walking through.
No way!
You've got to be joking.
No way!
How does Mazzino even get into that position?
I mean, how do they allow him to just ult on top of their heads?
There's no way.
How?
There's no way.
The sheer
Look at
cojones
this.
of it.
Just look at this. TP up top. They're too preoccupied with the players that are pushing through the smoke, and they're just none the wiser. I mean, why would you ever expect Mazzino to stick his ultimate there?
I mean, also, even if he doesn't stick, the play of pinging out those player locations so that the Leviathan guys can spam them through the smoke, even if he doesn't stick,
yeah, I mean, that's
is
just
still like 5-head gigabrain
I
stuff.
didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
But then he just sticks it because he realizes they're not paying attention to him anyway.
Yeah. In a moment, decision being making, and Zeta, you need more than risks. You need a miracle at this point. Got to get around on the board somehow. Still, this mid-aggression slightly being punished. Takalia playing close to the wall. Needs somebody to bail him out. Needs a team to help him out, and that is Shy from Tiles. As far as teammates go, layering down that covering fire, even removing a player from the fight. Laz is very pushed up into mid, even getting a decent amount of spam damage once more onto Nosra, but has to back away.
You can just feel it. Watching from Laz's point of view, how much he wants to get active in these rounds. He knows his team needs him, but this Killjoy shackle around his ankle is stopping him from getting involved.
Can't risk it with his util getting deactivated. And again, Leviathan. Similar play to what we've seen in many of these rounds now, just cutting the noise, cutting their time, and now starting hitting through. It's a nice paranoia to punish. Sugar Zero finally getting a lot more active in this one, and the timing is just immaculate. Depp pushing right through the smoke. Spike going to be dropped down at his feet, and it's all down to Nosra with 23 health remaining. Not a lot of time, only 12 seconds of dash from Depp to survive, and he does nail the shot.
Very solid round from Depp. At this point, by round 9, they're finally being able to break the Leviathan A execute. When Leviathan are going into A, Takalia smokes, and he either dashes into it or Mazzino teleports into it. And they're being able to understand now where on the map they can play in order to get around these timings and punish the players that are going in. But Bren, that might just be too late. 7 rounds on the attack side of Ascent is nasty good. So even if Zeta win everything from here on out, Leviathan would still be favored. And I don't think Leviathan are done quite yet.
Trying to get a bit of a read on this play, though. It's a brawl that's taking place towards B main. Depp wanted to take the fight there. He was hoping, I suppose, that Crow could just spam down with that Odin fire. And the ult has to get cancelled by Sugar Zero. They're wondering, okay, did he actually TP into our spawn? But it gets pinged out, and they know that it's been cancelled. Or at least broken.
Yeah, the Odin spam and your Jet pushing out B main is a pretty classic combo, actually, but the Odin spam just off a little, and Leviathan don't take a single point of damage, and they're able to isolate that kill and destroy Depp. And how many times have we seen this? A minute on the clock, 5v4, 5v3 situations, and Leviathan is still so cautious, so disciplined on their attack side. This is going to be a tough team to punish.
Just waiting it out, making their opponents sweat a little.
But I do think that Zeta are the kind of team that are unlikely to get scattered and overreact. They've still got 2 players here and a chance to anchor.
Oh my goodness, that paranoia is excellent. It catches onto both the players. It somehow 10 still claims a kill. Holding down onto lane. It's going to be down to these two players to see if they can anchor because time is running low. Leviathan have to commit to this one with 28 seconds left. What is the call that's going to be made? Another Paranoia swings through. They just can't quite find it. That's a spam angle where 10 was holding, but they do not account for Crow. Tries to swing around the Odin Fire, but the swing timings, again, of Leviathan, just too damn clean.
Yeah, that one might look weird from the angles we were watching, but it was actually, again, super disciplined. It looks like Taco just runs through his smoke on his own, right? But actually what's happening is Mazzino's waiting for the CT player to react off it, and so he's holding this smoke, which is a great idea. And on the other side of things, you've got Shy swinging with Taco in lane. But Shy doesn't push far enough so that Crow can kill him. Shy only pushes far enough to punish the player that kills Taco. It is, like, inch perfect. Really good stuff.
Never overextending. For a team like ZETA Division, this poor team just feels like the most recent global events they've been going to. They are always getting tested in these opening round games. Champs, the desk was talking about it. They unfortunately had to run into Loud, the eventual winners of the entirety of the tournament. Twice, man. Twice in their group.
And so it really does feel impossible to tell how good this team is. You can obviously watch them and notice that there's holes in their game, but if they were in a different side of the bracket, you know, would they have a better chance? I think it's very possible.
A player getting a red here, ZETA Division. Did push down into mid. Mazzino, Paranoia, not going to be even taking the fight, actually. Just TP's the safety because he does have the spike in his hands. They did read that they had been able to get this site pretty much for free now.
Yeah, and they're just holding all of the space. Only one player needs to get into sight. Everybody else making sure that they can't be pressured. Oof. A good shot from Crow.
Yeah, I mean, just being able to find that one, but the double swing just not ready for that. Oh. Swinging all the way through and...
Oh, my word.
Yeah. Takalia making the Vandal look like a phantom.
And Bren, we haven't even talked particularly about the role swaps that Leviathan have gone through. Shy was hyped up a lot in previous tournaments and ended up actually underperforming a little bit, I would say, on the initiator role. Nicknamed the Rhino for how he would just stomp through areas and kill everyone while playing Fade. We didn't really see too much of that at the global events, but he's a really young player, and they've swapped him now over to the Sentinel role and added Noswood to the team, a player with a bit more experience. So I'm expecting Shy to flourish in this new position, and so far, so good.
One more round waiting for us in this first half.
Depp finally opping. I think this is the first round he's got an op.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Golden Boy was talking about him picking up the operator now instead of Laz, but they haven't had a chance.
No, have not had a chance at all, and I was thinking about it being a potential difference maker in these games, maybe try and push him into those deeper positions, but again, just look at that. I mean, how many times are we going to use the word discipline, but it just feels so apt when you're talking about Leviathan. Shy's position there, just ready to swing and punish any sort of player that was pushing with the drone.
And it feels desperate from ZETA Division.
Yeah.
They're trying to create opportunities at the minute 10 mark, which is always where Leviathan are waiting for something to happen. And this Paranoia is off the turret contact. Could maybe something happen here? I imagine Leviathan are going to leave someone anti-flash, though.
I mean, it would have to be a hero play, wouldn't it? Yeah, they are playing enough players just slightly out of position. Paranoia rips through, beaming him down! Sugar Zero. He does collect the two, but there's already players ready and waiting just to punish that position. And now into the site. The lockdown being used, the Hunter's Fury on top of it in response to that. I believe that's Crow. Yep, just trying to make sure he deals with that one there. But again, Leviathan not wasting any time still. Finally nailing the shot, taking care of his opposition. All down to Mazzino in a 1v2 scenario. ZETA Division desperate to win this round. They need it. But we've seen Mazzino in this position before. A very intelligent player. How is he going to try and use his utility? A TP across. And it's just complete uncertainty in the ZETA camp. But now down to that 1v1. Crow knows the positioning. He knows it's in hell, but how do you win it against this guy? Mazzino just so damn clean.
And Leviathan make it to double digits by the halftime. This team looks unreal. You don't always see the scrim results translate into match performance. But apart from these very small and disconnected moments of heroics by ZETA, it has just been the ball buff all day long.
Yeah, that guy, I mean, Owner, is Vamison and maybe a little bit too hard there, but that's going to do it for the first half of this map. Send it down to the decks to break it all down.
Man, that was an aggressive Vamos. I thought Owner was going to pop a vein at one point there.
Owner has fantastic reason to Vamos because that half of Valorant was so incredibly impressive from Leviathan. I wanted to start by looking back at just some of the mid-round calls that King was making. We were highlighting him coming into this as a really strong individual and a strong IGL, and I think he proved it here. We start this round with them setting up, providing pressure towards B, and then initially execute on in, and then you see here in the late round, Shy is just holding in mid. He punishes on the lurk, doing great on that new role, and despite the fact that they got so much space in B, they completely reset, slow down in the mid round, re-execute onto a free A site, and set up a really strong post plant to win. That entire half, King felt absolutely on top of the game with the mid rounding.
Yeah, I mean, the calling looks absolutely phenomenal, and that's why they find themselves in this position with a 10-2 lead right now. That and just ZETA have been struggling to respond to this mid-rounding, so it's just been really rough ride for them. And some crazy runbacks in the past and even today, but this one looks very challenging. We'll take a look, though, at the two Jets in the lobby. And, I mean, it's unsurprising just given the scoreline that we see right now. Dev has been struggling 9-10 at the moment compared to the 12-6, the 2.0 KD for the side of Taco Leah, who's been looking well at home with Jet.
And the biggest issue for me, Josh was mentioning this on the cast, but ZETA was really struggling to find early aggression to disrupt Leviathan's game plan. Lev was not really leaving them any gaps to push through, and when they went for the early round gambits, they were always being shut down. And 10-2, I mean, Ascent is an extremely defensive-sided map. This is brutal for ZETA.
And also, it doesn't help, too, that when you're in these situations, you have these set pieces, you're going to, play contact off of the turret and then toss a flash with your Omen. You get two, but then you get turn around, and then, the Killjoy picks up 2 kills of his own.
The trading has just been so good from Leviathan.
It has, and that, I think, has been the difference maker here. Incredible sights that we've been seeing from Leviathan. Let's send it back over to the casters to see if they can close this out.
Yeah, see what ends up happening here, but so far, the tail of this one has to be Mazzino. This guy right at the tippity top of the scoreboard, and we spoke about that head-to-head comparison as well with Mazzino versus Sugar Zero, two players that have performed at LAN in the past, and so far, I mean, Mazzino on a new role as well.
Yeah,
just getting the better of it.
That is what's so impressive to me, is that Mazzino's picked up smokes incredibly quickly and already looks amazing. He might end up getting challenged early here as the spike is over towards A, and A split looks like it's on the cards for ZETA. How's Mazzino's anchoring? Oh, Shy's got a shorty.
One. Yep, Shy does have a shorty right up close, and dashes to the side right where he wants him. Perfect range for the shorty kill. Still need to deal with him, but ZETA, they do manage to hold their ground. And well enough indeed. A bit of a jump peak there by Nosra. He does survive into this one, but only down now to 52 health. Spike going to get planted for ZETA Division, and a good start, a good beginning to this one. 10. Getting a little bit aggressive there up onto Heaven. Now backs away to try and play with the rest of his team. Jump peek again, a bit of information, but no. Good from ZETA Division again, not giving anything away there.
Yeah, really nice A split, actually, from ZETA. That is a pistol round that they desperately, desperately need. I can't really recall the last time I've seen an Ascent game be so attack-sided. If ZETA managed to pull off a comeback, it would be miraculous, in my opinion. It would be
insane.
But the pistol round would be the first step, and I think that they did a great job there.
ZETA Division were a team, there was some focus being placed on them, I think, in the off-season, heading into this 2023 season, because like some teams, chose to make no changes. The core of this roster has remained relatively intact.
Yeah, completely intact. And I think that that's going to hurt them in the long term. We'll see, obviously, very early days in the 2023 season, but a lot of these other squads, even in the Pacific region, right, have made sizable upgrades.
Yeah. Many changes happening across the board.
I'm looking at Team Secret, as we saw earlier today. Really big upgrades have come through massively for them. Talon as well. Maybe we didn't think those would be upgrades, but they actually ended up performing very well, Gun and Jibboy.
Yeah.
So for ZETA, you really, these players have to prove that they deserve that spot for 2023, right? And that the Reykjavik run was not a flash in the pan, not a one-trick wonder. And that's going to be their goal for this year.
Has to be their goal, doesn't it?
It doesn't help, though, when you keep running into these god squads early in tournaments.
No, and that's, it's the big question that we keep wondering every time we watch ZETA Division playing tournaments like this is, where is the peak of this team? Where does it actually lie? Because forever being chased, honestly, by that third place finish at Reykjavik that he managed to get. Okay, well.
There's so many players on Leviathan with shorties in this round. There's no need.
Ooh. Brutal.
I thought it would be Sugar Zero and Laz pulling out the shorties in this game.
Yeah. Well, honestly, there's been a bit of a resurgence. The renaissance of the shorty at this event.
Oh, yeah.
We've been seeing people in ranked games, they buy 2 of them. They fire 2 shots off, and then you try and swing to punish, and they just pick up the second one at their feet.
People in ranked are thinking on a different level.
Yeah. But it's going to be 1 round at a time for Zeta Division.
Yeah, and here's the bonus. Leviathan and owners teams in general are normally incredibly good at bonus rounds. So now the shoe's on the other foot. Can Zeta pull off something incredible of their own? Another A-split. It looks very similar to the pistol round.
Slight angle being held by King. Almost pixel angle. Still, Fragment Nade's going to be dropped down at the feet, and he does evacuate. He gets out of there, skipping a hop. Bounds his way to the back of Jenny. Just needs to anchor down his position, but still, the cloudburst in his face. Depp doesn't want to be pushing too deep. Now there's a flash at play. Oh my word. One after the other. Zeta Division just cannot withstand it.
Wow. Leviathan picking up. I mean, King's spray control there to get a second in that situation is unbelievable. But what you don't also see, watching from King's POV, is Takolia picking up 2 in A main as well. Softened up, of course. But still, the combination of players ready and waiting for that sight hit. Read to perfection by Leviathan.
Yeah. And unless you are pixel perfect in terms of the execution, the utility that's being used to clear out these players, attacking on Ascent can be so damn hard.
Oh, it feels horrible. Leviathan have made it look so easy, so much easier than it should have been. But this map is normally defender-sided. Is Shy going to try and swing off an alarm bot here? This would be crazy aggressive. I doubt it.
He's playing a slight anti-flash position maybe, but no swings to the side.
Yeah, I think he's just playing anti-flash.
Yeah, just in case they bounce the KO nade, or KO flash, I suppose.
And so many protocols on Ascent defense are about buying time for rotators to come through. That's why you saw in the previous round, King put a heavy emphasis on using his nade. It allows Takolia to get into that A heaven position and stack the A site for the defenders. And that's going to be Shy's job too. If there is somebody gallivanting down mid, he's designed to delay them and wait so that they can still have 2 players behind.
The timing on that was almost perfect.
The spike, though, is still over by A.
Wondering what the goal is. Dart lighting up 10. Has to get his way out of main.
But this B pressure is good, Brent. It's kept 3 players over at the B area, although Taco is now drifting back into a more central position.
Even still, 30 seconds remaining. And this A main control has been held on to. The question is King going to be able to get that knife online? But no, pressure's starting to be applied now. There's a Paranoida ripped across the site, knife into the back, and the dart as well. All that utility that's just being comboed up. Depp moving forwards now inside of his own cloud burst up top, holding that one angle onto heaven, yet still King at the back of Jenny. This guy is just an absolute menace. And sure, Laz claims a kill into mid, but too little too late.
I'm watching from Laz's POV as this game slips away is the saddest thing. In a lurk position, unable to have any impact in the round. A top 5 player by stats, by the way, when it came to champs, I believe. Because his chamber was electric. And now he's just sat at the bottom of the scoreboard, slowly watching his team lose. King is unreal.
This guy is ridiculous.
More people need to be talking about how good he is. At Champions, I was gassing him up so high in him coming into this event because it's crazy rare that you see somebody with this level of skill who also is such a competent IGL.
Yeah.
I think the only one that's comparable at the moment in the game is Sadak, probably.
Yeah, that's what I would, yeah.
And I think King frags harder than Sadak, too. And the calling on both of these guys is extremely good.
Movement, the aim, the decision-making is a complete package.
And the flexibility.
Yeah, just plays so many different roles.
Well, last chance for Zeta Division on this first map. It is, of course, Leviathan's pick, so it's not disaster zone just yet for Zeta. Even if they lose here 13-4, they'll have their chances to respond, but oh, it hasn't looked good.
No.
They'd like a couple more here at the end just to get their heads back in the game a little.
The drone is used in response there with the alarm bot being broken. But in terms of that mid-round information. Look at that, even a deep smoke being planted by Zeta Division into mid, just trying to hide what they're doing, but they're going to be walking right into this play, surely. Takalea moves forwards, saving the dash for a rainy day, and guess what? That's right now.
And meanwhile, Mazzino is in wine.
Yep.
He looks like the playmaker.
There's just too many angles, too many layers to this one. How will Zeta deal with it? Trying to set the way up now. You can see the darts being placed into it. Players just sitting in main, no one none the wiser. And again, once more, King. Just back and forth around Generator, and that will seal the deal. Map number 1 goes the way of Leviathan in a dominant fashion.
People, you have just witnessed a masterclass. That was an utter deconstruction of Zeta. This Leviathan team living up to the hype in Map 1. And we've seen teams do this before. In the Alpha bracket, we saw many a series where Map 1 went way in one team's favor. And then Map 2 was a different story, but wow, just in a microcosm, that Ascent gameplay was beautiful from Leviathan.
Yeah, you can break that down frame by frame, I think, constantly as well. But that's going to do it for map number 1. Going to go to a short break, and on the other side of things, map number 2 will be coming up.